what are some good AI use cases to take for? Like, what are some of the parameters that you should look for to undertake that AI as a problem statement, and how do you kind of separate them from some of these overblown promises?
I think as a technologist, I see the full potential that AI has. And as a pragmatist, I would also say that we have to be strategically aligned. Whatever we do, I mean, just like any other project, and that applies to AI projects too, that they need to be aligned with our overall business goals.
How can organizations strike the right balance between, the human intelligence aspect of it and the machine intelligence?
AI strength is speed and scalability, versus humans' strength is judgment and expectations and experience. So we have to marry those benefits and strike that right balance.
How does your framework of calculating ROI evolve, especially with generative AI, large language models, and all of these things coming up? Hello and welcome everyone to the next episode of the AIM Media House podcast Simulated Reality. Today we have with us the CEO of Sankey Solutions, Shobha Patil. Shobha, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for having me today and giving me this opportunity to be, having a fun chat here.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I've been working with your team to decide on the topic, and I think one of the things that they really wanted us to speak on is the ROI aspect of AI. And I was just curious as to, how this conversation has evolved over a period of time. You said you joined the company since 2021, and over a period of time, you have also kind of worked within the industry as well across different IT solutions and this thing. And always the objective of this industry has always been to kind of cut costs and improve this thing. But what is the vocabulary around this ROI? Why is this conversation? How has this conversation evolved? This conversation has always been relevant because that is the primary motive of this. But can you tell us a little bit and put an insight into that?
Right. So in general, when we started, right, when technology was just brimming up, I think intention was always how this technology could be a driving enabler across, cutting across all horizontals, right? And one of the important parameters that any organization works on is on two, right? Increase your revenue or decrease your cost. And I think technology made a significant impact in defining how the cost leverage can be given, and using automation, digital transformation, and eventually now we are talking about AI age, which is again pinning a lot on this. How do we maximize the return on investments? When we are specifically talking about return on investment, is the technology costs that are put to leverage. How does that equalify or even bring up or reduce the costs in those terms? And from that, I think it has always been underlying statement of how do we maximize our return on investments with the IT costs evolved, and whether it makes sense to buy versus build, or to what are the right tools and technologies, whether to use open source versus licensed ones, what are the managed services factors, or even year on year the annual cost for maintenance going to. All of these have become very important and fundamental factors of maximizing the ROIs. So that is what I feel. But now evolving into the AI-enabled digital transformations and initiatives, I would like to add that a lot of these are also percolating in key areas, like whether you have a improved CRM or a faster content generation, or how are you able to reduce customer attrition, streamline your operations, do any predictive analytics, process automation, and all of these are key areas that influence how AI tools and technologies are being leveraged, and crucial for maximizing the ROIs.
Fantastic. And one of the questions with regards to this, right? You explained how various technologies have always been enablers, but with regards to AI, especially being such a buzzword, and with the advent of Gen AI, even more so, right? The idea of implementing Gen AI in a company has always been not as straightforward as implementing how IT solutions work, right? There was a problem statement, and you tried to solve that problem statements through some of the solutions that you're bringing in, right? With AI, the conversation is always, because of the buzz around it and because of the hype around it, it has always been the other way around as well, right? Where a lot of investors within the company are like, give me some AI, which is like a very difficult conversation to have, especially between the executive leadership and the practitioners. How do you kind of encourage or educate some of these organizations in a way to understand what are some good AI use cases to take for? Like, what are some of the parameters that you should look for to undertake that AI as a problem statement, and what are some of, and how do you kind of separate them from some of these overblown promises? Right?
Sure. So yes, I do agree that AI is a buzzword, but I think as a technologist, I see the full potential that AI has. And as a pragmatist, I would also say that we have to be strategically aligned to the whatever we do. I mean, just like any other project, and that applies to AI projects too, or Gen AI projects too, that they need to be aligned with our overall business goals, right? And that is a key parameter to judge whether we should undertake such kind of projects or not. Secondly, it is also to understand the measurable ROIs on these projects, whether we will be able to do it, and what is the kind of technology infrastructure required to do it, whether we have the data foundation or the ensure that we have the high quality structured data or unstructured data or the insights that we really need to build this engine, and whether we have right leverage of technology and skilled workforce to be able to do that, whether we have the investments to put in the scalable cloud infra to scale this further, and I think it will be justified to do prototyping or pilot projects first to see and test them before even going for a full scale implementations. So I think these are the key things anyone should keep in mind before they venture into AI. I mean, definitely there is a lot of potential in that area, and but we should try, test, and then go wide on it.
Fantastic. The other question around it is basically AI doesn't come together so easily, right? When it comes to building AI, a lot of factors need to come together. And while infrastructure is also one of them, I want to focus a little bit on the data itself. One of the conversations that a lot of leaders have is basically the data readiness of many of these organizations is still not ready. Like they are not ready to have a conversation around AI. Even for that matter, some are so legacy driven that data analytics might be even a question before we even jump onto the AI aspect of it, right? So, from your perspective, what roles should human domain experts play in curating the data, right? Validating insights and guiding AI systems? And how can organizations strike the right balance between, the human intelligence aspect of it and the machine intelligence?
Yeah, you are right. The AI models are as good as the data that is based on. Uh, but then I was reading an interesting article the other day from folks, and it also mentioned about human empathy in AI. And it is very important that while AI has progressed and it can work off whatever rules and preset engine we build around it. But humans are very much required to curate that data to see whether the data is relevant, accurate, or it is comprehensive, whether it is touching all the outliers, exceptions, and other things, right? So I think it is very imperative to have that check, and I don't think that is irreplaceable. Secondly, it is also important to curate the quality around that data that is there to ensure that AI is able to give you a very valuable insights out of it, right? Secondly, once you build that engine, I think it is very important that you have to validate the AI generated insights to ensure that it is as equal to expert giving an opinion or expert giving the similar insights, and these are as equivalently actionable, not something random which is not aligned to business goals or something which is not doable, right? Because that is the tendency humans have, that is the power humans have to make a judgment, which I think AI cannot take. And to be able to closer to that, I think humans will still need to intervene in validation of those insights. Third is how we make it more ethical and ensure that data is prevailing, data is secure, ensuring that there is proper nuances on how the AI systems guiding engine is based. I think it is very important that we define the objectives and roles of the AI systems and what they need to align with. And this human intervention will always keep them in check, monitor the performance of the AI on a regular basis, and ensure that it is still in line with the strategic goals and objectives that you want to measure within the um, ethical standards, right? And we are not going off bias. So that's what I feel. Now, about striking a right balance about this, I think we need to ensure that there is proper collaboration. It's not like we are introducing AI and replacing humans. I think humans are well adept to take judgment calls better than AI, and that has to be leveraged and in proper strength. For example, AI strength is speed and scalability, versus humans' strength is judgment and expectations and experience. So we have to marry those benefits and strike that right balance. Secondly, there is always a feedback loop, right, of what is changing. There is a continuous change in behavior. If you're talking about a customer trend that we are trying to check, or clothing trend, or fashion trend, then there is a change in continuous change of human behavior, according to which the data changes, the insights will also change. But who will keep a close control on this behavioral pattern? It has to be looped in, and when it has to be looked in, which is the right time to loop in those feedback, has to be a human judgment. So that's why it is required that we have to regularly review and refine the AI inputs. Second is all these models have to have a transparency and what I can say, understandable outputs. It cannot be something that the humans cannot comprehend or take decision on. So I think that is very key, where that human intervention will always monitor whether that model is understandable. It is not giving any wacky answers per se, and it is something that we are able to relate. So that's I think how we can collaborate the human and AI aspects of it and work with their respective strengths.
Yeah. One of the next questions that I want to kind of address is the ROI itself, right? Now that we have decided to invest in AI, these are some of the prerequisite questions, right? In terms of identifying the use cases, making sure there is the right data. Today, it will also matter if there is the right infrastructure and all of that. Now, let's go to the ROI aspect of itself. What are some of the, and given the wide array of use cases and various industries that are implemented in, obviously the answer is not very straightforward, but I just want to kind of understand from you, whenever you speak to a client, right? Like, and let's say they ask you that we want to kind of implement this, how much will it cost, right? Now, let's say there is X number of dollars in terms of the human resources, there's X number of dollars in terms of infrastructure and your fees, etc. And then this is the implementation. Now they will ask me how much money that will make. Sometimes this answer is not so straightforward. Sometimes it is very straightforward. what is the framework that Sankey Solutions, or even you as an organization, or you as a team, implement or show them to kind of make sure that this is how we will calculate the ROI, and this is how we will show you real impact? Is there some kind of framework for it, and how do you do that?
Yeah, so I think the golden principle is always that you test the waters before you enter them. So I think we will never advise our customers to go with the big bang approach and do heavy investments to in such a early skill like AI. But we understanding the merit of AI, we also have to test it pertaining to the value it could create for their use cases, their ecosystem. So we first ask them to identify such quick wins and quick some projects that they are sure that where there is a lot of intervention that can be included with AI projects, and then first scope them into smaller projects and generate immediate value. So with the cost benefit analysis, we are able to showcase that this is the value generated with this much of volume that has been done. Just extrapolate, if it is done on this kind of scale, what will it be? So I think a phase-wise implementation and quick wins to begin with will help to generate that interest on whether I'm doing it right. I mean, from the organization standpoint, whether it is going to give me the right ROI, and it is able to achieve my short-term goal. So, and then basically, if it doesn't work, then you know that there's no point in continuing. And with doing this small 3 to 4 weeks of project really helps. So we start small and we generate that and showcase immediate value with those kind of projects, and then we scale on top of it. Now scaling will also involve a workshop that we will do, that will be aligned with a strategic objective in mind, whether it is cost reduction or optimizing or operational efficiency or whatever it is, and how much do they want to achieve, and with our scaled approach, how much is a realistic uh, achievable target that we can win with it. So with that, we are able to then go with a more uh, open and transparent and very judicious decision making process. And it also is easier to convince their management whether this is on the right path or not. And then I think the rest is about fine tuning some of these models and projects to see that we are able to get to the target outcome. Say, for example, our accuracy rate to be achieved was 95, but we could achieve only 80%. So what is required? Probably we'll require a lot of that data to come, a lot of those insights to be coming, a lot of those finer points and outliers and other things to come in to kind of enhance that model and give you the right output. So fine tuning and continuous adaptation will be the next part of it, which happens after we are able to do it at scale. So these are the three-prong steps that we will have to work with our customers, and this is what we recommend at Sankey too.
Thank you. One of the things that you mentioned is identifying some short-term gains and long-term gains, right? And I think it makes a lot of sense when it comes to showing some of the use cases that are making good impact, right? So that they also find value in it, and they show that there is some interest in terms of extending the overall value proposition of AI, or taking an AI first approach in some of the solutions that their problems that they are trying to solve. Can you help me understand on how can you give us some examples or real world examples where you have implemented it? You can take probably an industry where you have tried to identify some of the short term gains, and then what were some of the projects which were beneficial in the longer term? How did you navigate this conversation with your client, and how did you successfully kind of drive that engagement with this particular customer?
Sure. So for a simple win or small value creation, we could, I mean, simple thing would be like chatbot or search engine that gets you the data faster than and improves your response time. So you could implement it as a short, smaller project within the current ecosystem without lot of dependency easily, and test it. So with that, the immediate parameters that you could look for value addition could be reduction of the workload, and improved response times. And these could be the key factors you could look to calculate your immediate short-term gains. For longer term, how you could expand this is to build it into a more intelligent engine, which is capable of using more models driven decision making process, and further enhance it. But to be able to do that, it will have to work on set of data, past data. It has to be trained on the lot of the past information, or even futuristic information, which will take some time. But then you are basing your decisions on actual value that is going to get created from it, and base it off that. So for a financial firm, we also did one fraud detection engine, which was a short term win, to give you another example. But from the longer term perspective, we were able to expand that fraud detection to even a bigger platform, which was expanded to do predictive analytics of different customer insights, and how to use that to enhance the so even before the fraud happens, just looking at the patterns, you are able to predict that this is going to happen. So that is a longer term growth. I mean, this we did for a financial services firm. But these are few of the examples I could.
Fantastic. And finally, going forward, any closing thoughts on how the entire space of Gen AI is going to shape up? We saw how the calculation of ROI has evolved until today, but with the evolving nature of AI itself, now all of us moving into Gen AI, how does your framework of calculating ROI evolve, especially with generative AI, large language models, and all of these things coming up? How does your model or framework evolve with this?
So I think with large language model, or I think there are multiple techniques that are coming in. First of all, we have to be tuned with it. We have to understand how these nuances of different models is going to work for which kind of use cases. And I think as we are talking, there are a lot many learnings and immediate tools. So the wrappers are getting built on top of each things, and it can be easily used. So whether to build versus buy, whether what to leverage, I think it is very, very key. For example, for LLMs, they have a large impact in terms of making enhanced decision making, help in making decisions, and improved customer service and content creation. But where there is a focus on customer interaction, right? And how the content generation can be automated, versus multimodal learning is more with respect to how integrated insights from text, images, and audio can be leveraged and into many other applications, where like healthcare or manufacturing, or even automotive for that matter. So I think from the frontiers of the emerging AI capabilities, I think lot of these techniques that are evolving, we have to be abreast of it. And forward looking, we should be focusing on investing in keeping ourselves up to date on these evolving techniques. Of course, and uh, I think the objective could be to do it into a continuous learning model. At Sankey, we have this ethos of learn, unlearn, and relearn. So I think that is a cycle, and it has become a DNA now. So I think we need to continuously keep ourselves abreast of these upcoming developments, and adopt it, implement it in small scale to see what is really going to make sense, apply it on the real world problem statements, see whether that really gives the kind of value to the businesses or not. If they're really going to give that value, then we have to go ahead and implement it deep down, double click it, in the paradigm of the industries we serve, and further develop those as skills, right? Because then you know that it's going to take longer. You can have the talent to develop that, and you have the right workforce to be able to implement this and address these real world problems. So that is what I feel.
Fantastic. On that note, Shobha, thank you so much for making the time for this interview. Very grateful that I got to speak with you. I can definitely see how you're passionate about the subject and how you're growing your company. Thank you for giving me an insight into it.
No problem. Thank you very much, Kashyap. It was lovely meeting you, and thank you for this opportunity with AM to be able to speak on this topic. Thank you again.